like to call the meeting, regular session for Wednesday, June 8th to order at 5:15. Would you all please rise and join me in the pledge of allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Again, thank you. Mr. Zudo, would you please conduct the roll?
Certainly. Mr. Castine.
Present.
Mr. Bizzaio.
Here.
Mr. Hall.
Here.
Mr. Henry.
Here.
Mr. Hughes.
Here.
Mr. Kretzer.
Here.
Mr. Courier is asked to be excused this evening. Mr. Potiker.
Here.
Mr. Timmons.
Here.
Ms. Waldron.
Here.
You have a quorum, Chairman.
Thank you very much. All legislators have received a copy of the minutes for the May 25th regular session. If there are no additions, comments, deletions, I'd ask for a motion to accept the minutes. Motion by legislator Hall, second by legislator Kretzer. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. I'll now recognize anybody in the audience who wish to share their thoughts and concerns with the legislature. Please raise your hand, state your name, and be prepared to speak for 5 minutes.
We have with us Hayden Buckley. Hayden is a student in Greg Foss's government class at Saranac High School. I happen to know Mr. Buckley. He played hockey with my son, so it's good to see him. You don't have to say anything, but if you certainly are welcome to do so.
Are you good there?
Yeah.
Excellent, well said. Anyone else? Anybody? Okay. Committee reports. I'll call upon the chairperson of each committee in alphabetical order by committee, starting with Buildings and Grounds. Mr. Bizzaio.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. The Buildings and Grounds Committee has not met since the last regular session. The next Buildings and Grounds Committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Monday, June 13th at 4:30 p.m. End of report.
Thank you, sir. Children and Family Services, Legislator Potter.
Thank you, Chairman. The Children and Family Services Committee met on Tuesday, June 7th. John Redden, the Commissioner of Social Services, was present to discuss several resolutions, including authorizing contract amendment with Highland Software, Inc., and amending Resolution 913 dated December 8, 2021, titled Authorizing Various Contracts for the Year 2022. Resolutions 383 through 392 have been placed on today's agenda as a result of the committee's recommendation. The next Children and Family Services Committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Tuesday, July 5th at 5:15 p.m. End of report.
Thank you, sir. Economic Development and County Operations, Legislator Waldron.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the Economic Development and County Operations Committee met earlier today. Glenn Cutter, the Planning Director, was present to discuss several topics, including the floodplain deal, the hazard mitigation grant submittal, and the vaccination trailer status. Molly Ryan, the Director of Economic Development, was present to discuss an airport development update. The next Economic Development and
Well, we need to give Mr. Brown, he was here.
Yes, Mr. Brown was also there as well. The next Economic Development and County Operations Committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Wednesday, July 13th at 4 p.m.
And Madam Chair, I think it's worth noting that there is a resolution on the agenda this evening under 13.2 regarding the energy efficiency program that we have embarked upon. The subcommittee of Mr. Bizzaio and Mr. Timmons reviewed the two proposals and recommended a company to the Economic Development Committee and now to the full board. So, we did do it rather quickly because we didn't want to wait another month for the building season. So that's why it's on under 13.2 this evening.
Thank you. Anything else, ma'am?
No.
Finance Committee, Legislator Timmons.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the Finance Committee has not met since the last regular session. The committee was full on Resolution 393 on today's agenda. The next Finance Committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Wednesday, June 15th at 5:15 p.m.
So that's just to remind everybody that was moved to the 15th to accommodate the in-rem foreclosure auction results.
Anything else? No. Okay. Health Committee, Legislator Hughes.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. The Health Committee has not met since its last
regular session. Your next health committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Wednesday, June 15th at 4:15. End of report.
Thank you. Human Services Committee, and Legislator Zerlo, you have that report? I do if you go.
I do have it.
Okay.
On behalf of Legislator Perrier, the Human Services Committee met on Tuesday, June 7th. Jordan McCaldy, the Administrative Assistant for the Office of the Aging, was present to discuss two resolutions. One titled Authorizing Contract Amendment with the Joint Council for Economic Opportunity, and a second authorizing payment of membership dues. Kevin LaBeouf, Director of Veteran Services, was present to discuss monthly statistics in the Dwyer Grant Funding peer-to-peer programs. Resolutions 394 and 395 have been placed on today's agenda as a result of the committee's recommendation. And the next Human Services Committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Tuesday, July 5th at 4:15 p.m. End of report.
Thank you, sir.
It's not easy doing that. You guys do yeoman's work.
We especially like the peer-to-peer program.
I thought that was a new night at Bob's Lounge, actually.
I'd like to sign up for this. Personnel Committee. The Personnel Committee met on Monday, June 6th. Resolutions will be placed on the agenda for the Wednesday, June 22nd regular session upon the recommendation of the committee. And the next Personnel Committee is tentatively scheduled for Thursday, July 7th at 5 p.m. Plattsburgh International Airport, Legislator Hall.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the Plattsburgh International Airport Committee has not met since the last regular session. The next Plattsburgh International Airport Committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Wednesday, June 22nd at 4 p.m. End of report.
Anecdotally, Bob, I had a meeting with your county attorney today, and if folks don't know, Jackie has got family in the Philadelphia area who is taking advantage of coming north on your new air service, as opposed to people just coming from Plattsburgh and entering the system. So,
All right, they get their $50 rate.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great.
That is really great.
Yeah.
That is great.
Yeah, they're very excited. The only wedding in Vermont, so it might even be more than 4 people.
and I'm assuming they're going to use it to get home as well, Jackie?
Yes.
Public Safety, Legislator Castine.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, the Public Safety Committee met on Monday, June 6th. Jamie Rock, the Administrative Assistant at the Child Advocacy Center, was present to discuss several resolutions, including authorizing contract amendment with SimQuest Group Incorporated and authorizing contract with New York State Office of Children and Family Services grant acceptance. Eric Day, the Director of Emergency Services, was also present to discuss resolutions authorizing emergency management performance grant, application and acceptance of federal fiscal year 2022, and authorizing FY 2022 State Homeland Security Program grant application and acceptance. Sheriff Favreau was present to discuss resolutions titled Authorizing Contract with Various School Districts and Authorizing Operation Stone Garden grant application and acceptance. Resolutions 396 through 404 have been placed on the agenda as a result of the committee's recommendations. The next Public Safety Committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Thursday, July 7th at 4 p.m. End of report.
Thank you, sir. And Transportation, Legislator Kretzer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Transportation Committee has not met since the last regular session. The next Transportation Committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Monday, June 13th at 5:15 p.m. End of report.
Thank you very much. Liaison reports. Board of Health, Legislator Potter.
Mr. Chairman, the Board of Health is scheduled to meet on Monday, June 20th at 7 p.m. If anybody would like to attend. Other than that, no report.
Thank you. Chamber of Commerce, Legislator Potter.
Yes, I attended the Strategic Tourism Planning Committee meeting on June 3rd morning, bright and early 8 o'clock meeting, and was updated with the efforts of marketing efforts by the chamber. It was a good meeting, well attended, first one in person since forever, beginning of 2020. End of report.
Okay, thank you. Clean Community College, Legislator Zai.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. So we have a luncheon date Wednesday, July 13th, there was some confusion, it started on the 14th. Apparently it got changed somehow on the way to the 13th. Part of that day we'll be touring the facility, some of their newer buildings that a lot of us haven't been able to check out yet, as well as being able to have conversations with the president and other important staff at Clint Community College. So, sign up early.
Yeah, so, I'm the mystery behind I'm the
Do
answer
it.
behind the mystery. That was my fault, I mixed months, I mixed June and July up. We obviously, for you, we wanted to do it on a Wednesday,
Right.
so people would be down here for their committee meetings that evening. That was the original intent, and I also will be in town that day as opposed to at a NISAC function following day. So I am the answer to the mystery. July 13th, and with at 11 a.m. Probably 2 hours or so, and then tour the facilities that you guys have paid 50% of, and listen to the good things that the college is doing, and then our
And ask
meetings-
questions.
and have the opportunity to ask questions. And I think the president is certainly expecting, to hear some questions.
Okay. Anything further?
That's it.
Community Service Board, Legislator Castine.
No report, sir.
Cooperative Extension, Legislator Timmons.
No report.
Discipline Review, no report. Grievance Committee, no report. Intercount, Legislator Walter.
No report.
LCLG Regional Planning Board, Legislators Hughes and Kretzer.
No report.
Okay. So Water, Legislator Timmons.
Just an update, I believe Francis brought it to the last regular session, the tire recycling dates, but the first one is tomorrow at Plattsburgh Highway from 1 to 4. The next after that, it'll be June 23rd from 1 to 4 at the Shazy Highway. Anybody in Clinton County can go to either of these, and they ask that you just call Soil and Water Office to pre-register.
Any
Up to
limitations?
10 tires, in regular vehicle tires, no tractor trailer or tractor tires.
It has, and I see the editor scribbling over there, has that been announced publicly?
It has been, yep.
There's flyers out too, right, Rob?
Flyers out, and we've been doing it for quite a few years. I think many of the towns are almost asking to do a rotation of what we've been doing in different parts of the county. So, it goes over very well.
Thank you. Workforce Development Board, Legislator
No
Kretzer.
report?
Okay. Staff members, your reports. Ms. Keller?
I would like to request an executive session to discuss contract matters.
Okay. And Mr. Turtle?
Very quickly, I just want to say, as everybody knows, the legislative session has concluded, and NISAC will be putting out a summary of that legislative session. I, of course, will forward it to you. The one big issue that I spoke to you folks about was this bill that was finding its way through the legislature to have local elections to be the same year as the gubernatorial elections. That bill did not pass either house of the legislature, so there's no change on that. So your dues was well spent this year.
Okay. Resolutions. Before voting on the resolutions, I want to note that the majority of the resolutions have been thoroughly discussed by the appropriate committees, and the legislature is taking action tonight based primarily on the recommendations of those committees. Mr. Zerlo, would you please read the title of the resolutions to be acted upon?
Certainly. Resolution 383, authorizing contract amendment with Highland Software Incorporated Social Services.
Motion, Legislator Potiker. Second, Legislator Pizzaio. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution 384, amending resolution number 913 dated December 8, 2021, titled Authorizing Various Contracts for the Year 2022 Social Services.
Motion, Legislator Potiker. Second, Legislator Kretzer. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 385, authorizing continuum of care program grant application and acceptance, social services.
Motion, legislator Potiker, second, legislator Bezal. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution 386, authorizing contract with Evergreen and Townhouse Community Social Services.
Motion, legislator Potiker, second, legislator Kretzer. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution 387, authorizing contract extension with the Red Lake Horwitz Foundation COVID-19 Rapid Response Grant Social Services.
Motion, legislator Potiker, second, legislator Bezal. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution 388, authorizing contract with Clinton County Mental Health and Addiction Social Services.
Motion, legislator Potiker, second, legislator Kretzer. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution 389, authorizing lease agreement with North Country Workforce Partnership Incorporated, Employment and Training.
Motion, legislator Potiker, second, legislator Bezal. Abstention, legislator Kretzer. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Abstention, Mr. Kretzer. Resolution passes. Resolution 390, authorizing payment of membership dues, employment and training.
Motion, legislator Potiker, second, legislator Bezal. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 391, authorizing payment of membership dues, Youth Bureau.
Motion, legislator Potiker, second, legislator Kretzer. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 392, authorizing various contracts, Youth Bureau.
Motion, legislator Potiker, second, legislator Bezal. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 393, authorizing the county treasurer to transfer appropriation from the contingency budget and increase the insurance budget legislature.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Hall. Discussion? Roll call.
Just very briefly, under discussion, if you're curious as to why, obviously the final numbers came in, but the big one here is cybersecurity, and that's the premium that went up. Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution 394, authorizing contract amendment with the Joint Council for Economic Opportunity Office for the Aging.
Motion, legislator Kretzer, second, legislator Bezal. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution 395, authorizing payment of membership dues, Office for the Aging.
Motion, legislator Bezal, second, legislator Potiker. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution 396, authorizing contract amendment with SimQuest Group Incorporated, District Attorney.
Motion, legislator Castine, second, legislator Hughes. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution 397, authorizing contract with the New York State Office of Children and Family Services, grant acceptance, District Attorney's Office, Child Advocacy Center.
Motion, legislator Castine, second, legislator Hall. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 398, authorizing Excelis Blue Cross Blue Shield grant application and acceptance, District Attorney's Office, Child Advocacy Center.
Motion, legislator Castine, second, legislator Hughes. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 399, authorizing various contracts, District Attorney's Office, Child Advocacy Center.
Motion, legislator Castine, second, legislator Hall. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 400, authorizing contract amendment with Samaritan Hospital, District Attorney's Office, Child Advocacy Center.
Motion, legislator Castine, second, legislator Hughes. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 401, authorizing emergency management performance grant application and acceptance for federal fiscal year 2022 emergency services.
Motion, legislator Castine, second, legislator Hall. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution 402, authorizing fiscal year 2022 State Homeland Security Program grant application and acceptance, Emergency Services.
Motion legislator Castine, second legislator Hughes. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Mrs. Walter?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 403, authorizing contract with various school districts, Sheriff's Department.
Motion legislator Castine, second legislator Hall. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Mrs. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution 404, authorizing Operation Stone Garden grant application and acceptance, Sheriff's Department.
Motion legislator Castine, second legislator Hughes. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Mrs. Walter?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 405, authorizing the county treasurer to establish appropriation and corresponding revenue for the 2021 Operation Stone Garden grant, Sheriff's Department.
Motion legislator Timmons, second legislator Castine. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 406, authorizing the county treasurer to reappropriate 2021 funds for various accounts, Treasurer's Office.
Motion legislator Timmons, second legislator Waldron. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried. Carried. Thank you.
Resolution 407, complying with New York State Controller regulations by establishing standard workday in the reporting of retirement credit for elected and appointed officials, Legislature.
Motion legislator Timmons, second legislator Waldron. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Chairman, we're gonna have to waive 13.
Yep, thank you. I'd like to entertain a motion to waive 13.2 as we discussed earlier. Motion legislator Hall, second legislator Timmons. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. 13.2 is waived. Go ahead, sir.
Resolution 408, awarding request for qualifications for energy services, Legislature.
Motion legislator Bizzato, second legislator Timmons. Any discussion? All in favor?
That is, at this point, it's an all in favor.
Okay. All in favor?
It will require money, but not at this point.
Not yet, right? That's what I was asking. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay. Good with you. Anyone have anything further to come before the legislature? Yes, sir.
I want to remind all the legislators that this Friday at 7 p.m., there'll be a mass for confirmation and then presentation to the Bishop of Augsburg for the diocese's 150th anniversary. So if you're planning on attending, let us know so we can at least introduce you. So Chairman Henry will be there, and I'll be there, and anybody else would like to be there. It'll be just, it's not going to be a regular, it's going to be a regular mass, but it's not going to be the whole full congregation. It's just going to be the confirmants and their families, so it's not going to be a really crowded situation. So if you're planning on attending, just let us know so we can.
Anything else? I'd like a motion to go into executive session. Motion legislator Hall, second legislator Bizzato. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We are in executive session. We are
Regular session.
in regular session, ready to go. Is there anything further to come before the legislature?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
What are we doing about this gas thing?
Well, you can't do anything until
August.
August, effective September 1. If you do, you have three options. You can cap, and I'm not talking pump price here, I'm talking this fancy taxable price. You have the ability to cap it at $4, $3, or $2. Your budget was built on, you're going backwards if you cap it at 3 or 2. You have the ability to cap it at 4, and that in theory does not harm what you budgeted as revenue. But it only can be effective at the beginning of a sales tax quarter.
So am I understanding that these other counties, when they say that these counties have already done this, that's not true?
11 counties have done this. 11 counties have capped it either at 2, 3, or 4.
And Franklin and Essex have already done that?
I believe Essex, I don't believe Franklin. I have a list. NISAC is compiling a list.
If we cap at 4, how much does it actually save if it stays at let's say even 6.
It's probably, I'll have to do the math, but probably, it depends, because the pump price actually is part of the calculation. Probably around 8 cents a gallon.
Yeah, but the state just took 16 cents.
8
away.
cents.
And you didn't see it.
Well,
That's right.
That's the
I'm not trying to,
That's the problem.
we could take our 8 cents away, and it's like, it's an eyedropper in the desert. There's no control. There's no control over getting that to the consumer. I can tell you, our sales tax is over. You will see a report at 5. A lot of that is due to motor fuel.
For sure.
But that sales tax will afford you the opportunity at budget time to keep your Clinton County tax stable. That sales tax, when shared with your municipalities, will allow them, should they show desire, to keep their local taxes stable. In my humble opinion, that is the best way to ensure that you are actually benefiting the taxpayer.
Not to mention, we're so close to the Canadian border that the Canadians that are coming down are only adding to our taxes to be able to benefit with that. I mean, it'd be one thing if we were in the middle of the state and it was only the local people that we could even possibly help.
Well, this helps us with our tax levy, it helps us with our property tax. We've all seen, we just went through this.
Right?
We
It's
had
gonna help us.
100.
The $4 does that too, correct? I mean, we didn't budget it, we didn't expect it to be $4, we're still gonna come out with a service.
Right, but you can't cap it at exactly what you thought you were budgeting. You only have certain statutory
If
options.
we did do something which showed.
If you capped it at $4,
You know,
or, again, I know we're on camera, it's not the price at the pump, but if you capped it at $4, that, to your point, Mr. Hughes, is beyond what we were anticipating as a revenue, if that answers your question.
Yeah.
If you cap it at $3, you're going backwards.
But on the flip side of that, there's no guarantee that that money goes in the consumer's pocket. None. That 4 cents could go to the company that delivers the oil. That 4 cents could go to the person that owns the store. They'd still be putting that 4 cents out there. They wouldn't be saving it. That 4 cents, on the other hand, if it comes here, can be used to keep to share that money with the communities, the city, the town, the villages. It can be used to ensure that our tax levy is low. It can be used to ensure that the property taxes stay as low as they can if we do that, because we just went through 100 properties. Part of the reason was because people couldn't pay their taxes. The way we tried to mitigate that is through sales tax.
the other towns don't also get it back.
I'm sorry?
No guarantee that the towns get it back in their pockets either. We can adjust our budget accordingly, but there's no guarantees to get back.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
But they will have the ability.
They will have the ability to do that.
You're gonna get a report at finance. I saw the draft today. Obviously, we're over, and the amount we share is over. And we're gonna hit we'll hit at some point in the year, the threshold that changes the percentage between the county share, and the share. So, that's gonna happen earlier because of this, so, we'll be in good shape. I want to bring this up, this is always forgotten. The highways budget is blown out of the water. The CCPT budget is blown out of the water. The airport's budget is blown out of the water. We buy a lot of fuel too.
And the towns that we hire,
Yes.
their budgets are being blown as well.
Well, that was gonna be my next question to you after you decided this. Are we doing anything about the bus system? I mean,
The bus system is still operating. The issue with the bus system is ensuring drivers, not the cost of the expense. Keep in mind, we have a management contract with First Transit, so the expense, the revenues are ours and the expenses are ours. So that increased expense is an expense to the county budget when we close out. But no, there's been no contemplation of changing any of the routes or limiting any of the service.
Yes, sir.
as Rob said, all this Canadian business, if we weren't on the border, I might consider this, but every Canadian that goes back north is gonna fill up his tank before he goes there, because
Is
our
it
gas
still
is
cheaper
cheap.
than
Lot
Canada?
cheaper. Oh, yeah. So, every Canadian coming across, when they go back, they're filling up their tank, either in Plattsburgh or Champlain or whatever. So, my question is on home heating oil, do we tax that?
No,
So,
when we
there's no relief for.
when we increased our sales tax percentage way back when, actually it was 3 to 3 3/4 before we went to 4. The trade-off was to eliminate the sales tax on home heating.
I assume that.
But we buy it to heat our buildings. We buy it. We don't tax it, but we buy it. Anything further? I would take a motion to adjourn. Motion legislator Hall, second legislator Hughes. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We are adjourned. Thank you all very much.
6:25 p.m.